That's why. And take two and action. Right. Okay. So we are back. Let me turn off the output. Yes. Okay. So we are back now. We have the sound back. Unfortunately, I did not connect the sound onto my sound card and onto my PC. Long day. But you know who has got even longer day? Grace Jabari. Grace Jabbari. I don't know what she was thinking, in my honest opinion, in filing this lawsuit, but we're gonna get into it on today's stream. Make sure that you hit the like button and make sure that you hit that share button for everyone to tune in and to see what we have in store for today, because we are looking at why Grace Jabbari is suing Jonathan Majors, what exactly she is suing for, and why I say that is going to be a long day for her despite this, because whether you like it or not, I don't think this suit reflects badly on Jonathan Majors in any way. I mean, in all fairness, we've seen what he's been doing in regards to, his relationship with Megan Good, him going back on the red carpet again, etc. When this lawsuit did hit, a couple of people believed that this was most likely why Disney dropped him. I spoke to I spoke with a couple of people without naming names, but that they basically said that this is probably why Disney had dropped him, because they probably sensed this lawsuit coming based on. But again, it wouldn't make sense why they would drop him since the lawsuit coming, and yet give him a platform to do the interview. I mean, it's all speculation, in all fairness, but I personally do not think that this lawsuit reflects badly on Majors. I think it reflects more badly on Grace Jabbari, because let's be quite honest, the typical people that are picking this up are we let's just go into that really quickly, because the people that are picking this up is quite predictably, a quick Google search is going to show me who are actually reporting in this, because the people that are reporting in this is Rolling Stone, The Cut, and the Guardian, and I believe the Independent. That's about it, really. I hope you guys can hear me now. I hope you guys can hear me. But yeah, welcome to every single one of you. Use the chat and let me know how you are feeling. So, press wise, it's not really known, not in comparison with the Times, but even then, when the Times was reporting what they were saying in regards to one of the people that actually came forward, again, it died down again, and he still went onto red carpets. I think whatever he's doing media wise, he is that is actually working out well for him. I'm gonna go to the chat really quickly. Um, oh, let me. Yeah, okay, so it's okay. Oh, can you? Damn, what's going on here? 1 second, let me fix this, because I can't get your chats on stream for some reason. Let me get it up. Let me fix this. Right, all done. Should be fine. Come on. Don't know why it's not working. But yeah. Hopefully I'll be able to read your chats out later, and it will work. But oh yes, okay, so it does work now. Yes, we can hear you, Eliza, Solo Dove, and Nom de Plume. Welcome back, everyone. Jamia Solomon, welcome back. Yes, in reference to the Nickelodeon, documentary that has just been released. We are actually going to be looking at that in one of the hindsight episodes, so do keep a watch for that. Is I was going to do it every month at the end or and at the start of the month, but it's turning out to be a weekly episode because there's so much to actually cover and talk about. It's basically a kind of a hangout session where we explore like topics that has been going on that may not be law related or ongoing cases, because that's what I basically do on this channel. I cover ongoing cases and give my commentary on them, but sometimes that's not really the case, especially in terms of things that require social commentary, etc. Like for example, the Nickelodeon documentary, the ongoing smear campaign against, in my opinion, against Johnny Depp right now in regards to the bots, etc., or to the bots claim by different companies, etc. You know, all of those things that I cannot necessarily cover here. The first episode was about psychosis, and the case about the psychosis killer that got community service. Basically, she didn't get jail time despite killing her boyfriend. So things like that is what we discuss, and it's pretty much a free for all. So hindsight, that's what it's called. We'll be back next week on Wednesday. We have a lot coming out this month and next month. And now that I'm finished with my Depp v. Heard docuseries, you will definitely be seeing a lot more consistent content coming from me on the channel. So yes, do consider hitting the subscribe button and hit that bell notification button. That's the most important one. That bell notification button, or as I like to call it, the catch-up button, and make sure, and that will ensure that you get notified for all the stuff that is coming out. So Eliza says, nice setup. Thank you so much, Eliza. I actually do appreciate that. Yeah, so the green screen is gone, and it's now you get to see my living room, I guess. Yeah, so the green screen served its purpose. You know, it was just for that time in which to get my docuseries done, and retain that professional look. When I go back into that mode again, because it will be a while before I think about doing a feature length kind of work like I did, so it'll be a while. But if I was to ever do it again, the setup will change. But I feel like I'll be more equipped to handle that change in the future. I don't know what's gonna hold, but this setup, I'm going to invest in this one and try and make it a lot more, sound a lot better, look a lot more livelier. But at the moment, I'm glad that you guys do like what you guys do see here. So right, Grace Jabbari, why has she filed this lawsuit? So I have no idea. I personally think it's I personally think there could be a host of reasons. Because when I read the suit in of itself, it's not out of the ordinary that this would happen, especially after getting after the prosecution had got some form of a verdict. A conviction is yet to come because there's no sentencing yet. But based on the verdict that they received, it kind of was coming one way or the other. Is the other parts of the allegations in there that is what's telling me that, okay, this might be a bit more personal than what is on his face. So let me just get the lawsuit up. Let me just get a complaint up, and this is basically the complaint. Let me zoom in a little bit so that you all can, you wonderful people can see it. Let me know if you can see that. Okay. Oh, Okay. Oh, too far. Oh, 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 oh. Okay, okay, okay. Settle down. Settle down. Okay, that's let me extend that for you guys to see. There we go. A little bit of housekeeping. Housekeeping. I'm watching too much. I'm listening to too much Kendrick Lamar. But yeah. Let's go back. So right. So this is the nature of the complaint. So she's seeking a 75K uh she's seeking 75K in damages or exclusive of interest and costs. So this is the damages from the costs. So it damages that it should be awarded by the court. It could be more. I have no idea how this one works, but the costs, etc. She is reserving the right to claim that basically later. I personally think so. If she was to basically win this, win whatever lawsuit is here, whatever, is to, yeah, yeah. So, damn, sorry, let me keep it. Okay. At all times of this cause, at all times, material to this cause, plaintiff Grace Jabbari was a citizen domiciled in the United Kingdom. Let me try and make sure that this doesn't happen. There we go. It should be a lot easier. Let me know if you guys can see that actually. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So they met on the set of Handman. We know that the case okay. So the key point says this case arises from a pattern of pervasive domestic abuse that began in 2021 and extended through 2023. The totality of the circumstances and the history of domestic abuse are pertinent to understand the severity of Grace Jabbari's damages. Now, the prosecution, it must be, we have to go back here. The prosecution was basically saying, in their opening statements, etc., and before that, Jonathan Majors was that all these things led up to this final moment in which Jonathan Majors finally became physically abusive. That's what they were saying. So if you see some people going online to say XYZ, that's most likely where it's coming from, because that's what was being reported. Like, that was what the opening statement consisted of in regards to the prosecution, that Jonathan Majors became physically abusive as a result of all of these aggressive or build up, and then bang, this happens. So what Grace Jabbari is going to divulge in this is what's striking to me, because it's painting kind of a different picture to what we saw in the trial. Majors began exhibiting concerning behavior towards Grace as early as September 2021. We know about those ones, the 19th and the 21st, I believe. The 18th, the 19th, and the 21st, something around that time. From then on, verbal assault and frightening anger of Majors continued to escalate until the time that he physically attacked Grace in July. In July 2022. In September 2022, okay, I mixed up the September 2022 with 2021, so that was my mixed up. But that's interesting, because now I'm seeing here that Jonathan attacked her in physic. The only thing that we know about July that we went through trial was to do with the dog situation. You know how, and that in of his face, that didn't make sense totally, but in no way did she even insinuate that Jonathan, that he was being physically abusive with her at this point. What she was presenting was Glastonbury, how he was coercively controlling her, how he didn't like how she was approaching the dogs, etc. So I find this part really striking to me, because surely the prosecution would have tried to bring this in the same way they tried to bring in the text messages from September 2022, right? They tried to bring that in. The judge barred it out. So if this, moving on, in September 2022, Majors physically attacked Grace again. So the first time July, second time 2022. So now she's saying, in regards to the text message, you saw all those things. This is what it's saying. This time causing serious. This time, sorry, let me fix this. Oops. Right. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Oop. One second, let me try and fix this. Sorry. All right. Okay, so he says. All right. Okay. So he says, what was it? This time causing serious injuries to her body. Soon after, Grace disclosed the physical abuse to a member of Johnson's team in effort to get help. Majors was furious when he learned that Grace had outed him as an abuser. This was I believe it was on the 24th that he found out. So he proceeded to break over. This was the day that he basically broke over. Let me go to the chat really quickly. It gives depth of field. I'm guessing you mean the background, most likely. Blessings. Hey, Flavia, welcome to the stream. Abuse, throwing candles to the wall and raising your voice. I mean, it's considered abusive nowadays. You can't throw your own stuff. It wasn't even great stuff. I think that's the most important part, because the literature that they like to cite to show throwing of objects is usually when it's the other person's stuff. You damage the other person's stuff and then you throw it in his or her direction. Let's just be front. They always say her anyway, so we're just gonna say her. But mainly, that's the time it's considered as physically abusive. Let me move on. Does this filing mention Grace evidence, witnesses, or will she present them later? I don't know how far this is gonna go, to be honest. I don't even know if she has even thought that far, because she hasn't gone on record to basically say who this person is or anything like that. She could. I mean, you are allowed to release names and etc. on a filing. It's protected. But she's not saying who she disclosed it to, but we know who she disclosed it to is Priya Satyani. So she's basically using inference speaking. In all fairness, let me move on. So that again is language like this that just makes me think, yeah, you're just out for blood at this point. Still reeling from the perceived betrayal, the relationship between Grace and Majors continued to deteriorate, culminating in yet another violent incident in 2023, wherein Majors caused Grace to sustain a broken finger and laceration behind her ear. All right. Following Majors' arrest, Grace disclosed the entire history of both verbal and physical abuse to the Manhattan DA office, along with written evidence of the same. Well, it's just amazing that this July incident that you're now alleging was not in part of that written evidence. But it is what it is. Despite living in extreme fear of the repercussions, Grace has now continued to tell the truth about the abuse. PR magic is what I'm gonna call this. This is PR magic. Now that Majors can no longer be physically abusive to can no longer physically abuse Grace, he has resorted to very publicly abusing her reputation. So with Depp v. Heard, we had litigation through the courts. So because Amber in that case couldn't shut up and just couldn't move on and just continue to speak about her being a domestic violence victim, because that's what she said. Then 2 years ago, I became a public figure representing domestic abuse. Are you saying that you weren't a victim? And she saw the culture's wrath of people accused of speaking figure. So because of that, when Deb sued her, it was litigation abuse. Now that Jonathan has gone on to address a lot of the things that came up in a trial and gave his side of the story, because he didn't. What I'm trying to say is, if Jonathan had testified, great, this lawsuit would likely not exist. At least not written like this anyway. This part will be different. It's what I'm trying to say. This part would definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, be different. Let me know what you think in the comments, but I personally think that the fact that they're using this language as if, well, abusing her through reputation, abusing her reputation. I've never heard of that before. I've never heard of someone abusing someone's reputation, but this is 2023, so new things happen every day. Following his arrest, Majors immediately implemented an extensive media campaign smearing Grace, claiming that he was completely innocent, is provably the victim, that he did not assault her whatsoever, that this woman was having an emotional crisis for which she was taken to hospital. That's actually a factual statement. That's literally a factual statement. He wasn't in your pen. Like, this has to, like, is she trying to take us for fools? Like, she does know that he wasn't actually at the penthouse when she collapsed, right? Like, when she collapsed, the police was called and Jonathan went into the penthouse and she was actually frantic and saying, oh my God, she's going to do this. That is an emotional. What do you want to characterize that as? That's why you were taken to that facility, because he wasn't there and you're claiming all the... Anyway, the facts will speak for itself. Majors went on to behave as many domestic abusers do, by attempting to blame his victim, campaigning for the district attorney to initiate proceedings against Jabbari, holding her accountable for her crimes. The nightmare did not end there for Grace. 3 months after the attack, in a truly desperate attempt to discredit his victim before trial, Majors filed a criminal complaint against Grace, causing her to be very publicly arrested and humiliated. That's your fault, boo. That is your fault. No one asked you to chase him all through Manhattan. No one asked you to chase him all through Manhattan. No one asked you to scratch the guy up. No one asked you to put your hands on the guy to keep him from leaving you. No one asked for any of this. You did that. That's why there was a complaint, because you actually caused body injuries to him as well. So the DA had to they picked you. I don't want to say what I'm thinking because I'll be in big trouble. So I'm not going to say what I'm thinking. But they picked you for a reason that I can't be picked for Miss America. I'm not gonna make that joke either. I'll be cancelled. I can't make that joke either. But the same way I can't be picked for Miss America is the same way you were picked, or Jonathan can't be picked, wasn't picked, to, like, his complaint did not go further by the DA. Anyway, causing her to be very public again. During the criminal trial against Majors, the theme of his defense was to blame his victim and paint her as a liar, with his attorney claiming in his closing argument, which is probably this entire case is built on Grace's lies, and boy does Grace lie. The police prosecutors bought Grace white lies, her big lies, and her pretty little lies. Jonathan Majors was then found guilty of assault. Well, I mean, you can try and, again, it's all, this is a PR. This is an extension of the Rolling Stone, basically. I wouldn't be surprised if the lawyer that wrote this up for Grace Jabbari is actually employed by Rolling Stone, and they just gave it to her to make sure that she does this so that they can get an exclusive. Let me go to the chat real quick before we go into in shocking denigration of criminal justice system following his conviction and prior sentencing, Majors participated in an exclusive STBC interview, exclusive interview with ABC News, wherein he doubled down on his public attack of Grace. That's what that was. I thought that was attacking the DA. I'm being honest. I actually watched all of that, and I thought that was more of attacking the prosecution and why that case even went to trial, and how the jury, if anything, maybe an attack at the jury as well. But I don't think he was attacking Grace. But that's my opinion. I actually thought that's my opinion. That's my opinion. I don't know what you mean by attack of Grace. Maybe you didn't like what he said in terms of setting the record straight, but all I remember from that interview was, if that was a black man chasing a white woman, that's a different story. That's what I remember from it. Like, how is that an attack on you? That's just reality. You did chase him, right? Like, am I living in some bizarro world? Anyway, claiming that she is lying about the entire pattern of abuse she described as he has never laid it. Well, why don't you? Is he lying about being chased down the street by a white woman as well? Because that was part of it. What? Let me go to the chat real quick. The universe. Hello, universe. Welcome. First time seeing you here. I hope you are enjoying yourself. She lives in a whole other universe. Zing. The irony with the name, universe. No. Okay. He persisted. He has persisted his innocence, guilty or not. He is allowed to do it. How is it abusing her reputation? We'll get into that, because I cackled at that point. I'm not gonna lie. Seems they forgot her testimony during the criminal trial under oath. They can come to bite you in the ass. I can't wait. I mean, if this case actually does proceed, I can't wait for Priya. I assume Priya is gonna take over again. I can't wait for her just to print out the transcripts and just keep using that and just say, but you said this here, you said this here, you said this here. Most of us didn't even know she was arrested. I know I didn't. Yeah, she was arrested. Nom de Plume says, I defend your right to be seen as Miss America. Am I a pretty girl? Oh, God. Solo Dove says, zealous advocacy is a real thing, Is it Priya or Dustin Push this time? I don't know who Dustin Push is, to be honest. Maybe. Let me actually look it up. This is bad from me. If it's someone obvious and I don't know, forgive me, because I haven't followed this case in a long time. Probably one of okay, I don't know. Let me know who he is in the chat. Ugh. I feel like I should know this guy. I feel like I should, and I'm embarrassed already. I'll just move on. I'm embarrassed. Sorry. Yeah. I feel like I should know, but like I said, I haven't followed this case since the last time I read cake. I read the transcript, and that was it basically. Let's go back into the reading for this. So so it's important to note that this claim is being handled, or she wants the claim to be handled in the state of New York, because it's going to basically govern the damages that she's being awarded, etc. So what she can allege that may have happened outside of New York, she can't bring into it here as kind of a proof of something happening if it didn't happen there, basically. So the like for example, I know she alleged before going into the factual background, because we're going to go into that, she has alleged I think here the battery part, the assault part, and I believe intentional infliction of emotional distress kind of applies to kind of every cause of action here, because I don't think you can have it on its own. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, but I just want to say that. No legal advice, no lawyer. So I don't know how IIED is actually, applied. But that's what I think. I think only defamation. I think only defamation is boundless. It doesn't have jurisdiction. That could happen anywhere. But in terms of New York, it would be okay, because she's fighting in New York as well. For defamation, it would mainly be how that would be governed. So in this case, she would have to meet the actual malice standard that Jonathan knew he was false and went ahead to basically make false statements. So the New York law would apply, which would mean that Jonathan would apply anti-SLAPP, and she would have to prove with a reasonable degree of certainty. Not reasonable degree of certainty. She would have to show, to at least evade the anti-SLAPP, she would have to show that some evidence that would infer actual malice in the state of New York. So that's if Jonathan was to invoke his anti-SLAPP privileges. So that's really important, because if Jonathan does decide to counterclaim, he might not get that right of having anti-SLAPP, being pushed in. But he can definitely put anti-SLAPP in there, and it would stop the defamation claim in its tracks. But even if Grace fails with the defamation claim, she can still move forward with the assault and battery claim, and it will still go to court to try those parts. What she can allege with those parts, like for example, if assault was to happen in the UK, for example, that might not come in now, because it will be tried in the state of New York for any assault that happened in the state of New York. That's what I do know. Or I'm confident explaining. I'm confident explaining. Flavio Studio says Joshua Push is Jonathan's defamation attorney. He sued the Lawrence before. Thank you so much for that info. Did not know that. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. You learn something new every day, folks. You learn something new every day. That's yeah. So let's go back into the filing. So factual background, plaintiff, we know that they met in 2021. She became okay. So we start here. At the end of 2021, Majors flew Grace to visit him in Atlanta. During that trip, Grace became afraid of Majors for the first time. Very attacked her and punched her. Blah blah. Continued to exhibit this behavior. The trip ended with Majors requiring Grace to promise she would never go anywhere again because she was not available for him to reach her at all times. This was at Glastonbury. And I remember Kat doing pictures for that. And so began a lengthy pattern of domestic violence and abusive behavior towards Grace. There's a problem with that because I know what definitely came out in trial was the fact that she and her friends got to go and see a Mariah Carey concert. So I would love to know how she's going to defend this part, especially, I think the concert even happened in New York as well. So I would want to know how she defend that part if it does go there to prove the battery claim, because I don't know how this prior history or bad acts is going to be applicable to prove the assault that was happening. I don't know how that would be, because I assume it will just be the same conditions in the trial should the, as you saw, the assault and the battery. If that was to go through, I assume it will have the same confines and the same conditions, similar conditions. It's just it wouldn't be reasonable anymore. It will be based on the preponderance of evidence. So, but in terms of all these prior acts, I don't know how that would still try and prove that those things happened on the 23rd, because that's what she's alleging. When Grace tried to escape, things escalated. I'm guessing this was in, okay, so this is in June. This is the new allegation. In July 2022, while Grace and Majors were in LA, California, Majors became angry with Grace. Majors became angry with Grace. She became afraid and instantly tried to calm him down. Majors began shouting in Grace's face and grappled both of her arms, pinning them to her body. He then shoved her into the shower door, causing the shower door to open. He threw her body into the shower wall, caused her to hit her in the wall. I'll just be blunt here. I don't know why she didn't file this suit in LA as well. I want to know, or at least, can you do that? Can you consolidate? Maybe you can. I'm going to ask the lawyer about this one, because I doubt she can bring it in for the New York suit as part of the assault, because that was not the cause of action in the thing. But this already, in my opinion, it sounds dubious. For me, it sounds like she is describing a sex scene. I'm sorry. It sounds like she is describing rough sex here. And again, I'm not trying to like invalidate real victims of abuse or anything like that. She had a habit of taking pictures. She said this in the court. Like, that's what's going on in my head. That's why I'm reading this with a bit more criticism. Like, I wouldn't think nothing of this, to be honest, if I didn't hear in the trial that when he first became abusive, she started taking pictures immediately to send to her family members. I remember seeing that and reading that in the transcripts. So one would imagine if this really did happen the way she's describing, there will be a picture to accompany it that wasn't allowed in the trial. The same way that those texts was not allowed in the trial, because it had nothing to do with, before, of course, pre opening the door. But nonetheless, that's the point I'm trying to make. Like, there will be a record of this. Moving on. When Grace tried to escape, things escalated in an effort to stop the abuse. Grace informed Majors that she was going to have to inform his team of what he had done to her, at which point Majors began throwing candles and other fine-side objects dancing to the wall and leaving the glass shattered. This is not the same. Wait. Hey, Flavio, I know you would know this. Help me put together this timeline. Am I right by saying that this event that she is saying is misattributed? Because I think this is September. This is not July, because she is describing it for July. But this is not for July. Is this? Am I misattributing it? And is that my error here? Because he did throw the candles. Yes, he definitely admitted that. But was that because I thought that July was for dogs? That could be me. That could be me. I'll put my hand on it. If it is, feel free to correct me in the chat. But no. That could be me. That could be me. But I don't know. Oh, sorry about that. Lost my temper and threw it all to the ground. That's not something I would do. What my child do. I absolutely did that. So that, let's say it was July. I think that was September, but because I think I am misremembering. I think I am misremembering that because September was Carrera Scott King, that recording, all those things. He also, but did he also break items on that same day as well? That's what's going on in my head, that all those things happen in one day. So this could be my error. Let me know in the chat what's going on, where I'm erring, if I am erring, that is. While Grace was begging him to calm down and try to stay away safely from Majors started crying and concerning comments indicating a self-harming ideology that made Grace that she needed to be the one comforting him, even though he had been attacking her prior. Okay, in August 2022, Majors moved into a London flat while Majors was filming the Marvel series Loki. Majors' erratic, physically violent behavior continued to increase. So in August, he was also physically violent, or was it just increasing? Okay. In September 2022, Majors became upset and began verbally assaulting Grace while chasing her around the home. When he was finally able to corner her on the bed, Majors raised his fist over her as she cowered, protecting her face with her hands. On this occasion, Majors did not physically strike Grace. He obtained control over himself and left the property as Grace locked herself in a bedroom for safety. Okay. Maybe it's a tactic to get her to be more docile. Maybe that's what she's trying to infer here. Later in September 2022, highlighting the undeterrable nature of his conduct. Undeterrable. He just deterred him. Majors violently physically assaulted Grace in London. So he did. So the first time he didn't assault, now he did. So later on, this is most likely the 22nd or whatever. Physically assaulted Grace in London, causing her serious bodily harm. The weekend of the attack, the catalyst that Grace invited a friend over to the new home that she shared with Majors. Really? Graciekins, are we being truthful in this little part here? Is that all you did? Invite your friend over? Is that all you did? When they arrived, Majors had just finished personal training and became very angry with Grace for having company. After a friend left, Grace called her mother. During the conversation, Grace began laughing, which enraged Majors. Recognizing his anger, Grace immediately hung up on her mother to try to calm him down because she was afraid of what would happen next. Grace went to sleep. That's it? What happened? What did he do to cause the attack? I'm going crazy here. What did he do? Maybe he hasn't got there yet. Maybe she's just saying the scene. Okay, let me read on. Grace woke up the next morning and left house to go on a walk and get coffee. As she was returning home, she ran into Majors. Grace tried to gauge his mood by asking if he was okay. He responded that he was not okay and called out the derogatory names and insisted that she knew what she had done wrong. To defuse the situation, Grace walked back towards the house. I remember this in the transcript, but again, okay, this is new. This part is new to me because in the transcript she actually did say this, but she said nothing happened. I actually remember her saying nothing happened. That she was communicating more with her friends at this not friends, family members at this point about all that was going on. That nothing really happened on this occasion. Unbeknownst to Grace, Majors followed her. He then suddenly came up behind her, grabbed her headphones from her ears, threw them to the ground, and began stomping on the headphones until they were broken. During this fit of rage, Majors was screaming at Grace in her face and threatening that she had better not be at the house when he returned. When he stormed off, Grace picked up her broken headphones off the ground as two strangers ran towards her to provide her with aid. I hope they are going to be your witnesses for this case. I really do. After having witnessed, you best track them down. I would. Grace, terrified, then returned home and called a friend to seek shelter. So what you were given an instruction right here. So we know, I'm not saying that the rage, whatever that she's alleging here, is minimal or maximum or anything like that. What I'm saying here is she was threatened that she better not return to the house. I want to know why she returned to the house. While packing to leave the house as directed, okay, this is important, Grace heard Majors barreling up to the stairs. When he arrived to the bedroom, he began throwing objects in anger. Grace was able to escape from the home before Majors was able to physically hurt her. So when did he physically hurt you? Okay, I see it. Paragraph 30, we're getting to it. Majors then traced Grace reasoned with her, saying that they made a plan, and now that you've told your parents about the whole marriage plans are ruined. Once Grace returned to their flat, Majors began shouting at her, telling her to be more like Michelle Obama, Carrera Scott King, and to stick to the plan. This is interesting because I was waiting for this. Again, there's no mention of someone being drunk. There's no mention of that, which is fine. You don't have to mention it. But it's good to know that an event that took part, that basically happened on the night in paragraph 26, paragraph 25, sorry. This part that was meant to be there is now shoved in here. Oh, by the way, this was what happened. This is a joke. On September 20th, so that was September 18th, done. 18th and 19th done. On September 20th, 2022, Majors became physically aggressive with Grace. Majors pushed Grace so hard that it bruised her backside. When Grace got up, she attempted to leave the house. Majors picked Grace up in the air and threw her against the hood of a car. And no one saw this. Not even a London report. Woman was thrown in the car, breaking windshield. It's a slow news day most of the times in London. especially in the part of London that you guys say was living. This does not happen regularly. What's West London? Let me leave that. Whitechapel, I think. I think she said Whitechapel. Grace began shouting for help. Majors then forcefully grabbed Grace, placing her in a headlock, and put his hand over her mouth to prevent someone from hearing her cries for help. He brought Grace back into their house and held his hands around her neck, stating that he wanted to kill her, that he was going to kill her. Majors then started hitting Grace's head against the marble floor while strangling her until she felt that she could no longer breathe. After the incident, Majors texted Grace asking her not to tell anyone about what occurred, ignoring the pain that her body was in a result of the violence that he inflicted against her. Majors expressed concern over his career. I don't care how careful you think you are in constructing this. What you're describing, even if he held your mouth down with duct tape and made sure that it was knitted shut, like those psycho killers, made sure that happened, people would still see. Like, London is very populated. Like, you think that no one's gonna look through there? Like, you're being bashed to the. Moving on. I fear you have no perspective of what could happen if you go to the hospital. They will ask you questions, as I don't think you can actually protect us, as it could lead to an investigation if you do lie. Grace responded, "Nothing is fake about the body pain. My body is good. Nothing is fake." Wasn't that Jonathan's phrase? It's all fake. Jonathan's face was, "It's all fake." Okay. Nothing is fake about the body pain my body is currently in. I'll tell the doctor I bump my head if I go over something. I don't know. I don't think I. Let me actually try and find. Real quickly. 1 second. Let me try and find it. I should have to take some distant messages here. Nope, I don't. All right, back to the reading. Why would I want to tell them what really happened when it's clear I want to be with you? Defendant tell Grace, "Last night I considered killing myself." Well, no. It's supposed to say all is fake. It's supposed to say all is fake. All right. Hold up. It's supposed to say all is fake. Why would the man last night I considered killing myself, or maybe I'm such a monster. Grace then responded saying, "Why would the man I love throw me around, strangle me in the eyes?" And he's saying he wants to hate. This is why I think she made this complaint. It's so that she can get this in. But what I don't understand is, you have the Rolling Stone on collect. If this was the case, just release it. Like, I have seen people make filings. I'm just saying this. I've seen people make filings and then it goes to trial. That doesn't come up. Like, it's almost like, and then these same people, not gonna name names, these same people go into trial. Amber Heard. These same people go into trial and then allege it was suppressed. That it gave it to a team. It was never produced. But in the filings that they made, you can see her put it in quotation marks. Until I see this part, you're just quoting dead air, in my opinion. I saw the rest. That's why I believe the rest. All this part here, I can believe it because I actually saw the text messages. This part that you're saying suddenly exists, so I need to see text messages to corroborate that. Otherwise, it's just quotes that doesn't lead anywhere, because that happens regularly. Some people actually do this, and then it goes nowhere. Anyway, moving on. I'm reminded of what happened each walking. She later goes on to say, I'm reminded of what happened each walking second, because I can barely move without pain. I also have to heal physically. That's not me stating other than facts. I have endured a bad head injury. I feel unwell. I have brain fog. I have constant ringing headache. Despite the severity of her injuries, Grace finally succumbed to defendants, writing, I will not go to a doctor if you don't feel safe with me doing so, or trust me not to. I promise would never mention you, but I understand your fear. To which Majors ultimately responds, I am a monster, a horrible man, not capable of love. I'm clear myself soon. I will put things in motion. Majors would threaten suicide in response. Grace attempts to understand why. Majors would threaten suicide in response to Grace's attempts to understand why Majors became physically violent with her in her aftermath, and manipulate Grace away from going to hospital or reporting the violence to authorities. Grace believed that Majors was capable of harming himself. He did not want to find out how serious of an abuser he was. Grace lived in constant fear of Majors, who demonstrated time and time again. There was no other way to like many victims of domestic. Who you trying to? Grace believed that the defendant Majors would change and start abusing her. Perfect Man, Mariah Carey concert, appearing at the red carpet, even though you're supposed to be battered and bruised. Bearing in mind, you're supposed to be battered and bruised on the 20th of September, thrown you into the car, all of these things happened. And on the Toronto Film Festival, literally 2 days or 3 days or 4 days, I don't know how long after, you appeared on the red carpet. All fine. Walking fine, by the way. There was no squiggle. This is you. I'm reading the complaint. I am reading the complaint. That you literally said that all these injuries that you have, all those things. But I guess that was adrenaline too, right? That must have been adrenaline. That must have been your pain threshold from being a dancer all your life, because you are. I'm sorry, but being a dancer does not make you invincible. Maybe if you was an MMA fighter, I would actually be like, okay, cool. I can see and why an MMA fighter would be able to walk. But even then, I saw no slight discomfort. Again, this is the Toronto Film Festival. Unless I'm getting the dates wrong, because that would really put a spanner in my theory. Unless I'm getting the dates wrong. Please, if I am, let me know. That's pretty critical. Because that's the first thing that popped into my head the minute I was reading this. That's the first thing that popped into my head. 1 second. Oh God, I hate the sleep function on my phone. Let me just go to the chat real quick. Let me see what everyone is saying. DJ says, Hines, this part is the redacted part of the text messages. All this was blacked out. Yes, I know. But the whole thing, the way Jane replies to her, that she pivots to a whole different subject about a necklace. Except we don't see a necklace or a discussion there being about a necklace in that briefing. That's not there. So, moving on. Nom de Plume says, if someone picked me up and threw me into a taxi, I would get the hell out of there, not chase him across the town. I know we are all different, but self-preservation is universal. Yes, we are literally. How do you think we survive? Do you think? I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I remember watching a documentary about Neanderthals and different subspecies of humans at the time. Do you think like a Neanderthal is gonna lift up? I don't know what we are. I just forgot what we are called. But that's the point. We have these inherent. Moving on. She went to sleep. Oh my god, the rage. She went to sleep. Oh my god, the rage. None the Plim says didn't two or more of Major's ex-girlfriends and Emma Duncan and Maura Hooper also claiming physically and emotionally abused them. Yes, they did. That was from the Times. They didn't really give as much detail as Grace has done here to show what is done. But again, we will see how far this goes because yes, DJ, I am aware that these are the redacted forms. But what I'm trying to say is she's gonna bring those in for the defamation claim if that one goes through, which I don't think it does. It doesn't have any success of going through unless Jonathan Majors files a counterclaim, because if he does file a counterclaim, that would mean that he loses his anti-slap privilege. So the only time he will file a counterclaim is if he was to lose the anti-slap, like if he was to invoke the anti-slap and then lose it when Grace contests it, and then because he says he has never physically assaulted her ever. I've never done that ever. So it's only option because all that she's alleging didn't happen in New York. So she can't get battery for that or anything like that. But it would fall under the defamation claim. So if it falls under the defamation claim, that's when you now have this part comes in. That text message, the redacted part, etc., that would go in to show that yeah, he did actually do this. I should be rewarded for him going on TV, etc., to say that these were lies. But for her to be successful, she has to beat the New York anti-slap law, which most likely, if I was Majors, I would actually file that ASAP and invoke anti-slap. I personally think that she's doing this so that she can get a settlement. I would not settle. But that's just me. I would actually go through it. I would not settle, because if you settle, people are going to remember this filing and they're going to take everything here as fact and run with it. And you settling, people, we already know what people think. They're going to think it's all true because you settled. I wouldn't settle. It's a chess move, definitely. 100%. It's a 100% chess move by Grace Jabbari. I just wouldn't settle. Me personally. Seems to be a lot missing from this whole kicker her rage. He didn't shout in the recording. No, he didn't. Well, he was assertive in the recording. Some people can call it aggressive. I personally think he was being assertive. A lot of people not misinterpret, but yeah, misinterpret works. Misinterpret or misunderstand the differences between aggression and assertiveness. This girl has issues with cars. Maybe she should buy a bike. Oh my god. Oh, Solo Dub, I love you for that, man. DJ says, wouldn't a neighbor hear all the commotion and call the cops out of concern? Definitely, if you're getting thrown into a car, of course. Like windows break or something happen. The grabbing of the mouth is not just gonna make the background sounds go mute, you know. It's Blade WWE. That's what So Dub says. Num the Plim asks, so the universe asks, okay, wait, why would he text that? Why would he text that if he just had his hand over her mouth? Let me know what you mean by that, so that I can go read that. I want to know what you're referring to. Num the Plim says, ask, would she not be concussed and in need of medical assessment after hitting her head multiple times on the marble floor. I don't know. Would she not be concussed and need medical help after hitting her head multiple times on the marble floor? I would think so. But apparently she was fine. She went into work. No one saw anything wrong with the injuries, etc., and all those things. So why wasn't this text in the criminal trial? So most likely it was redacted because it would have been prejudicial to Jonathan Majors. So if it was represented as is, as what she's writing here, if it was represented like that, I can 100% see why it wouldn't have made it into the criminal trial, because technically speaking, it's very prejudicial, and it would mean that, yeah, and it would leave the jury to definitely conclude he definitely abused her here, even though that may not have been the case. They may have found him to be guilty of aggravated assault, but that wouldn't be right. That wouldn't be not fair, but it just wouldn't be right, because you need to prove that he intentionally assaulted Grace on March 25th, not September 22nd. So it would have been it would have been really prejudicial, because it would have tainted the jury to come to the likely a wrong conclusion based on the set of facts that was in front of them for the assault that happened on the 24th of March. So that's why this text wasn't in there. That's what I think anyway. It was just too prejudicial. Zach Catanzaretti, thank you so much for joining once again. I remember you from the case files reading when we were going through the transcript. I remember your super chat. I really appreciate you for coming back and for rocking with us today. Zach says, "Gotta love Deadline proudly putting their name on this." Yes, going radio silent whenever the defense put out documents. Of course, guaranteed they will not publish. It's kind of sue. No, they won't. They won't. I personally wouldn't even ask him. I personally wouldn't even countersue just yet. I would definitely assert my First Amendment privileges and go for the anti-slap ASAP. I would do that. If I was Majors and I had no interest in settling, that's the first thing I would do. I'll launch an anti-slap suit, launch a counter battery suit, and yeah, and move on from there. That's what I would do. That's what I'll do, because if you do it like that, well, you both can't have intentionally injure each other, and that's what you kind of need to get the monetary award for the assault suit. The IID is a bit different, intentional infliction of emotional distress. That one you can be negligent, but in terms of battery and all that, you kind of have to prove the intentionality of it. Otherwise, this would have resulted in a summary judgment. If Jonathan had been found by a jury to have intentionally assaulted, it would have been done there and there. But because he wasn't found intentionally, that's why she's filing the assault part. In my opinion. But didn't she say she's a dancer and can't feel pain? Look, she also said that adrenaline was going in and out, during the trial. She said that. We don't know anymore. Maybe she just didn't feel it because she was going dancing. I don't know. But no, I have no idea. I think the Toronto Festival was a few days before this alleged incident. The festival was in September 13th. This alleged incident was on the 20th. I hope so. I mean, you know what? Let me actually quickly, because I was shooting off the hip there. Toronto Film Festival 2022. dates. Okay, so it was September 8th to September 18th. So it was definitely after the festival. A bit convenient that this happened 2 days after she couldn't wait to jump on a carpet with him. Okay. But obviously I'm going into like insane copage, so there is that element playing to my skepticism there. So something is not either way. Texas, I agree. I don't know. I think there's more to that. I don't know. I think if it was that damning, she would have released it to the public. The minute he said what he said, it's not like they're gonna like, oh, you've tainted the jury pool. Like I done a stream with Nali, and even she said, look, they don't get material, and they don't get Nali the lawyer chick basically was explaining in regards to when these materials get leaked out to the press, what would happen in terms of if it comes in or not. They always go in. They don't just get removed just because they've been leaked, unless, and this is my own insertion here, I'm guessing if it was in a confidential order and then it was released to the press, that's different. Like that. That's what I'm guessing, because if you release that, then you kind of have to disregard that because it wasn't meant to be released, because it was meant to be confidential. But outside of that, not really. That's what I think. But in regards to confidential, but Nali did say that just because a material gets released, it doesn't just mean it gets stricken from the record, basically, or it can't make it in after that. Would she have to prove therapy for the IID? She could end up being another Amber Heard. I have no idea. Intentional infliction of emotional distress requires a lot of I don't know. But my question is, why would she just text him the whole bit randomly like that? What were the You got it. That's what I gotta say. You got it. Yeah, why would she? Why would she just message it all that to him? Moving on. So Majors continues his abuse in New York. On and about March 24th, Grace and Majors went to dinner and a show in New York. Later in the evening, Majors received a text message from another woman. While Grace Major's phone attempting reading the message, she felt a large weight on her body and immediate pain. In an effort to exert violence to obtain his cell phone, Majors tried to pry out of Grace's hand. Grace felt extreme pressure in her right middle finger before Majors struck her with an open hand across the back of her head, causing a hard impact to the back of her head and a laceration to the back of her ear. All right. Grace felt continued pressure over her face and chest until Majors regained composure. Majors then exited the car, followed by Grace, who picked up and threw like a football back in the car, banging Grace's head on top of the vehicle door frame. You see the same way. So she described what happened in regards to the shower, in regards to the 20th of September incident, being thrown in the car, etc. And she is describing this one here. So let's just take it on as truth for a minute. During this incident, Grace suffered injury to her finger, causing bruising and a fracture, as well as laceration to her right here, which require a dermabond repair. I don't know what that is. After being isolated and terrorized and convinced over a prolonged period of time that if she did anything against Majors, he would cause gravely bodily injury. You're trying to convince me that this man that you are now saying that he threatened you, he's gonna cause injury to you, you continue to run after him. That's what you're telling me. She didn't want. Grace was reluctant to report his abusive conduct. So he says this to you. I'm guessing verbally, and because of that, you didn't want to report, but you did report because we read the case. But she cooperated anyway. She cooperated with law enforcement. You reported. Not that it's wrong or anything. You can do what you want, but don't say I didn't want to report when you did report. Like, you literally told the officers. That's what it testified to. She told me that he did this, that he strung, that he. Moving on. After his arrest, Majors through his attorney repeatedly told the press that Grace was lying, that she was the aggressor, and that Grace was in the middle of an emotional crisis at the time of the event. Isn't that a true statement? You really were. You were taking. Majors undertook a concerted campaign to discredit and defame Grace by attacking her honesty and truthfulness and impugning her mental health. You literally were taken to Bellevue. Like, all of this holds no weight because they didn't reveal any information about what happened. They didn't even disclose what hospital you went to. That didn't come out until trial. Moving on. Filed a complaint. I think this is gonna get laughed out. This is not even gonna get taken seriously because there is a reason why he filed a report, because he was assaulted himself. You can try and not put that in here at all, and not, because I'm not gonna read all of this, but it's not in here. If you want to read this to see if she says that Jonathan suffered from injuries, it's not in here. But the iCard for the arrest will show that it was logged that Jonathan was injured. There were pictures to show it, taken at the time. Moving on. Let's go into in December 2023, the criminal case went to trial. During a trial, messages were introduced into evidence regarding the September 22 incident wherein Majors caused Grace to sustain a head injury. As a result, Grace's allegations that Majors had violently physically assaulted her prior to March 23rd incident became widespread and international news. December 18, 2023, following a trial of jury by peers, Jonathan was found criminally liable for guilty of misdemeanor assault in a third degree, recklessly causing physical injury, recklessly, not intentional, and harassment in a second degree as a result of a violent assault, and he committed against Grace in this jurisdiction. Majors made the foundation statement about Grace both before and after his intending for his celebrity, wide social media following, and the public interest in his arrest to cause the public to accept his statements as facts, believing Grace was lying. You chase after him, bro. Someone has to be lying. You said that you were walking. Major's intention was not only to cause people to believe Jabbari was a liar, but also to cause people to lash out, harass, intimidate, and bully Jabbari. No, that's not how harassment works. You actually have to find that Majors went out of his way to send people after you to come and harass you. That's part of proving the harassment that you're now trying to go after him. Majors also intended his defamatory statement to adversely affect Jabbari's career. Not really. That was already done for. The minute that you went on the stand and said that you told his agent all of these things and nothing happened. Well, that's my own phrasing here. I'm guessing nothing happened because you guys ended up breaking up on the 24th when he allegedly found out that you disclosed to this agent that never said anything about all of this. So is gone. What I'm interested in all of this is what Priya Satyani has to say. That's what I'm really interested in all this about, because she has to now call in Priya Satyani. No joke. I was already skeptical that Priya Satyani did not get subpoenaed to come and give testimony and record of this, but I let it slide because I thought, okay, they're just there for the March 24th incident. That's what they're just there for, and that's it. She doesn't have to be there because technically, what her testimony is not really going to offer anything to prove assault happened there. So I thought, okay, cool. You don't need to appear. That's fine. But now that you are really going gung-ho on this, it has to be said that you made these statements, that you reported the abuse, and publications amplified it during trial. That's not Major's fault. Major's defamatory statements, as you call them, again, was about the prosecution, was about the jury and how they got to that because of the evidence that was put forward. That's what he said. The evidence. I didn't testify because of the evidence. I didn't do that. He didn't call her a liar at all. I don't know where she's getting this liar from, unless you have him on quote saying he lied. You are basically, well, you can't commit defamation because it's a filing, but basically you're basically saying he lied when he didn't lie, which means that you are actually lying now, ironically. Yeah. He's saying that didn't happen in the past in terms of the assault. You never said in trial, you never testified to him actually physically assaulting you on September 22nd. I don't know what. Moving on. Major's defamatory statements had intended effect on an international scale. His brazen defamation of Jabbari, casting her as a liar on her claims of physical abuse and domestic violence, have approximately caused many people in the community to harass, bully, intimidate, and even issue death threats, causing her the extreme fear Majors intended to set into motion. Right? Following his criminal conviction and prior to sentencing, Majors provided a voluntary interview with ABC News that aired January 2024. During the interview, the defendant continued to show an utter lack of remorse for his actions and inability to deter in future similar conduct. He was just talking up. No, man, I'm not going over there again. More pertinent to this action, during the interview, in response to Grace's numerous accusations, committing acts of physical violence against her throughout their relationship, including the events on the following false defamatory statements. She says inside the car, you hit her face, twisted her arm, blah, blah. That did not happen. I know I did not place my hands to strike a woman. It never happened. Have you ever had issues in domestic abuse? I witnessed it, but never participated. Never ever exercised it. I never hit a woman. I never have. I have never. My hands, I've never struck a woman ever. In this pre-sentencing interview, Jonathan Majors publicly claimed that he did not hit Grace in the car, he did not break her finger, and he did not cause her any injuries during the incident that resulted in his conviction of assault. Further, in the face of Grace having accused him in and out of the courtroom and of an extensive pattern of domestic violence, including to his former team member, Majors brazenly claimed that he never hit a woman and that his hands never struck a woman. Put bluntly, Majors' defense to Grace's description of numerous acts of violence Majors perpetrated against her to brazenly defame her and label her a liar on all claims. Right? So this is the key part, because you can try. So from what I'm guessing, two of the statements that she is labeling is libelous. But it's important to note, she's trying to say that the statements of him saying I never hit a woman is libelous against her because she's a woman. I have never ever, my hands have never struck a woman ever. That's what she's saying. So because she's a woman, that means it's inferring her. However, it does not name Grace. Just say I never hit Grace. Just say I never hit a woman. So what this could mean is Grace, if she was to go forward with the defamation claim, she would have to use New York's law in regards to innuendo and I forgot the actual term for it. Damn, I had it in my head. Defamation by implication. So she would have to use that and basically say that he's talking about me. This includes me, basically, because it's an inference to me. So she has to meet the New York standard for defamation in regards to those statements to definitely be actionable, basically. So it has to be defamation by implication, basically. Because all of this does not mention Grace by name. So technically, she can't actually pin him down to anything. He never said, otherwise he would be here. He never said that Grace was out there lying on me. He never said anything like that all through that interview, which is why I said I don't know why she's saying that the interview was libelous towards her, because he was not commenting on her at all. He actually said nice words about Grace and was a lot more critical about the DA, because when asked about about his own filing, that's when he gave the analogy of running down the street as a black man, etc. If that was me, if that was him doing that to her, they would 100% burn him to a stake. But because it was her, they would not take his claim on. That sounds like a shot at the DA, not the other way around. Not Grace Jabbari. On February 8th, 2024, New York magazine's The Cut published an article wherein Majors, this time through his agent Priya Chowdhury, continued to double down the defamatory attack by saying, honestly, I don't give a S. The idea that I should cuddle, Jabbari feels like suggesting I should cuddle the woman who accused, I don't give a shit. I don't give an S. The idea I should cuddle the woman who accused Emmett Till. Chowdhury went on to say, you don't want someone to be polite to the person lying to you, referring to Grace. Again, she is going to have to go by innuendo, defamation by implication based on New York state law, because none of this is naming her. For if you want to really go literal, you could say this is literally just talking about having, depending on the context, because that could play in. I don't know what interview they're referring to. We will talk about it in another stream. Should she update this, because I'm looking through all of this and there is no citations whatsoever. There's no legal citations, anything like that, to back up why she feels like the judge should take this claim on. I don't see it yet, anyway. But it's just a background. Maybe it will be here in the causes of defamation. But definitely she is going by the implication theory for a defamation claim to survive. So first course of action by victim of battery. We're going to read that soon. Let me just go to the chat. It's gone quiet in a little bit. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope you guys are alive in there. Oh, it's just not coming up on my end. I need to refresh it. Yeah, you guys are chatting. I don't know why it's not coming up on my end though. Let me try and refresh it. Flipping neck. I don't know why this is happening like this. Okay, there we go. Okay. Let me try and refresh it. All right. Flipping neck. Sorry, guys. Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to get your chats up on the screen. I do see them. Okay. Now got them back. I do see them. Jonathan didn't look happy with her at the film festival. Think there was something drawn out for the whole week. There's context to all of this. Honestly, there is context to all of this that we'll see. I feel like there is a lot more context to all this and there's more that meets the high. And the text is after when she is concerned about Jonathan Majors unliving text. The flow of conversation is weird, of course. DJ making great points. Non the plume. Thank you so much for this. Derma Bond is surgical glue. Thank you so much for that. I did not know that. Thank you. The universe says, I think she's a narc. I have relatives like that. They create totally different. They create totally different scenarios, and it's never the truth. It's to make the other person look bad, and they're the victim always. Or it could just be true in their head, one way or the other. Like some people really do believe themselves like that. So the Dove says she never said anything about hitting her at all onto the car. It is in court records. I mean, yes. Anyway. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, but because of the confines of the trial, I have to keep making the exceptions. I have to keep being fair because the confines of the trial was so some of this stuff may have not made it into a trial because it may not have had anything to do or relevant to the assault that was happening on that day. But at the same time, I need corroboration. You can't just say things like this without any corroboration. I need something to go by. So that DJ says that was Priya Chowdhury's opinion. She has a right to her views. She's trying to say, so yeah, the agency theory that was tried out because that be heard, and I done an interview about this with Andrea Burkhardt because I wanted to find out how far this gonna go. The interview is on my channel. You can go and check that out. Let me just quickly do the plugs quickly. You can okay, nope, that's not the plugs. That's not the plug. That's the wrong button you pressed. Right, let's do this again. Let me just quickly do the plugs quickly. You can go check out my channel. Make sure that you make sure that you definitely hit the bell notification button so that you can see whatever release that we have coming up. But in regards to my channel, I have a playlist set up for That Be Heard Labyrinth. Basically in there includes all the interviews. Go check out the Andrea Burkhardt interview. We talk about this whole theory, agency theory, etc. because Adam Waldman's statements was the one that Amber Heard was suing Depp on, and she won on one of the counts. So because she won on one of the counts, it became a persuasive argument to use in the different courts around the Circuit of Virginia and blah blah, and probably other courts in the United States to feel like they need to use it. But basically, simply put, a few months later, in the Gabby Petito case, with Brian Laundrie family, etc., they cited the Depp v. Heard case in regards to this agency theory, alleging that Brian Laundrie parents were Brian Laundrie, as in essence, or the parents, whoever were the defendants, they were speaking through their lawyers. So they used that argument to basically try and get a claim going for what was, in my opinion, a very weak claim to begin with. So it does have, because of the Depp v. Heard trial, it does have some kind of merit when it's being argued, and it can be used to be argued and make it more persuasive that because Priya is doing the interview, that means Jonathan Majors had commissioned her to go and do the interview to basically, say the things that she was saying. The reason why I say it like that is because that's what they were arguing for Depp v. Heard. So if they're using the Depp v. Heard, again, there was no citations in the complaint, so I don't know what the argument is. But if they're using the argument in regards to they have to prove during trial that it was definitely Jonathan Majors that sent Priya to go and make those statements, otherwise it falls flat. Like, this is going to be the defamation claim, in my honest opinion, is going to get laughed at, because at least one of the statements. So I don't see a clear definition of the statements that she is actually putting forward. I don't see how those are going to survive. I'm guessing all of it is by implication, by theory, because again, none of it mentioned Grace by name, which is kind of required in New York to get like to go straight into the actual malice standard, sorry, not actual malice, because that has to, in case someone invokes anti-slap. But the point is, to succeed, you kind of need to have that name. That's to say it's definitely this person. Basically, you kind of need to have that. What's up, Doc? Hey, Sheed, welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in once again. Yeah. Oh, Lord. What's up, Doc? Yeah, I missed that. Bugs Bunny. Right, so let's go and read this course of action. Make sure that you hit that like button, by the way. Please hit that like button. We don't have long left. Let me know how you're feeling in the chat. Also, if you do like the content that we're doing here today, please consider sending a super chat. It will definitely go and into helping us out in the running of this channel. All the money, whatever it is all going to service this channel, so that you guys can get the optimal and entertainment, so that I can continue making this pump out as much content as possible, because I'm doing this all full time now. I've taken a plunge. I'm going really hard this year, so it would really help. It would really help to ensure that I keep the quality up. That I have invested the money so far in buying different cameras, so that again it can be as engaging as it is for you. I'm going to introduce it in the streams coming up, but there's a lot more that I want to like do on here to make it a lot more interactive for you for these streams. There's also a lot more that I want to learn in terms of video editing wise, in terms of getting access to educational materials, so that I can bring out a lot more information for anyone that's watching, so that they don't just go off and be entertained, because are you not entertained every time you come here? But they can also go off with some food for thought, which is what I aim to have this channel of. After all, it's Dr. Hines Investigates, so I want to bring out as much meat as possible when you come here. So I really appreciate every single one of you for tuning in, and for really supporting the stream. If you can do anything for me, it will be just hitting that like button and sharing it with your friends, having the bell notification turned on, so that I can see you guys regularly here. It would really that would mean a lot to me. If that the least you can do, please do that. It will really help. Thank you so much in advance. Congrats on taking the plunge. Yes, thank you universe, for that. Hard work started when I made a channel, so but yeah, like, to be honest, I am always been self-employed. I was a DJ before this. I have always worked for myself, so this just feels natural. I like doing this. I finally beat my fear of the camera. You just used to see my earlier videos from 2018. No, but now I'm a lot more comfortable. I finally found myself and found my style, my editing style, and people really enjoyed it. I really loved the feedback, and that's why I took the plunge. It wasn't even because there was money to be made or anything like that. I mean, it helps that there is money to be made, but the most important part was actually seeing the feedback on the different ideas that I had, and I was like, I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try this, and every single video that I put out in the Dev Be Heard docu-series that I done, juxtaposed with the different videos that I do on the channel, and seeing the feedbacks, those were so positive for me that I thought it's actually way more worth it, because I'm not making, it's not every day you you're gonna make money doing this, but I'm equally enjoying everything that I'm doing here. So that really, really informed me, to really say, you know what, take this very seriously, because not only am I enjoying it, but I'm doing everything in like, at a rate that I feel really, really comfortable with. So again, thank you so much, everyone. At least you have videos. I was running from cameras. You're a funny guy, universe. You're a funny guy. Just gotta read one more, and then we're gonna go right into and then we're gonna go right into the article. So I can't find I think I did read it. Okay, so it says, Flavio says, maybe the fan pages. I want several fans to be careful and not bully her online. It could backfire. Amber's attorney also mentioned that umbrella guy in court. To be honest, I'll be honest. I know why you're kind of a bit worried about that, but look, vicarious liability is, I think that's a word for it. Is it vicarious liability? I think it's vicarious liability. I think that's a word. Vicarious liability in tort. I read it up just now. Oh yes, vicarious liability. Yes, I knew it because I learned it in uni. It comes under employment law. I had to look at it because when I did business law, albeit it was touched on a little bit, but we were learning more of contract law. But basically, simply put, vicarious liability is when you have it's when you are responsible for someone else's actions. You really need to really prove that the best way to prove it is to prove that but obviously I never went on to harass Grace. So if I was to harass Grace, for example, I'm using me as an example here. If I was to go on and harass Grace on Instagram or whatsoever, or send her death threats, then you have to prove that I was working for Majors, or me and Majors had communication and he told me to go and do that. It's hard to prove. So I wouldn't, she is saying this, basically what I'm trying to say is that she is saying this, and I think it's just for the press. It's not something that will be taken seriously without serious corroboration. Like she has to prove that Majors is doing the harassing, or the people are harassing her were literally sent by him. Yeah. Anyway, I support you for jumping out. Oh my, thank you, man. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That you're too kind. I appreciate that. I hope you enjoy a lot of content that I have coming out, because there is a lot of content. I have launched my membership as well. I do have a lot of plans because I also go by the alter ego of Ketchup Man. That's more of a bonus content that I do that discusses the movie and entertainment world. Completely different from what I do here. It's a lot more relaxed, a lot more imaginative, a lot more creative, in my opinion. So that's bonus for the people that are in the Heinz Hall. For those that don't know, Heinz Hall used to be what the old theaters were called back in the day. So the Heinz Hall is like it's like a theater that you go in to see more of what you would do, more of what you would to basically go and see movies, basically. So if you're going to the Heinz Hall, you get extra bonus content, and that's for being a member of the Heinz Hall. So consider becoming a member for as little as 99 pence as well. But thank you so much, Sheed. I really appreciate the super chat. Nom de Plume says, intelligent, lively, and objective debate is fine. Bullying and death is never. No, it's not. By the way, everything that I said earlier, yeah, is not to say that what she's going through is okay. That's far from it. What I'm trying to say is It's just what Jonathan has to prove, right? Sorry, not what Jonathan has to prove. What Grace Jabbari has to prove. So she would have to prove that if these things are happening, that is cause of Jonathan, and because it's cause of Jonathan, I deserve these damages, which I think is going to be really tough for her to prove. Is she getting bullied or death threats or something like that? Maybe. I haven't seen anything. She hasn't produced anything yet, so she could always amend the complaint and produce a lot more information, or corroborating piece of evidence. She could always do that, but I haven't seen it yet to say that she's lying or not. I personally think that this part was just for the PR, because it will be here. Like anyway, that's what I think. Anyway, let's move on to let's go back to the article. So this part here, like I said, this is just rehashing everything that was happening on the 21st, not 21st, on the 24th of March. It says here, it says it made bodily contact, says all those things. Plaintiff did not consent to the offensive and harm bodily contact by defendant as a direct and proximate result of intentional action by a battery. So again, she now has to come back to court, and basically, if this was to survive, she has to come back and prove that Majors did this intentionally, as in he literally went. He didn't go for this is an important caveat based on what I'm reading here, especially for civil standard. She has to prove that Majors did not injure her because he was going for his phone. He injured her because he wanted to injure her. So the phone is out of the realm now. She has to now prove, okay, even if Majors was not going for, even if Majors did not have the phone to go for, she now has to prove and argue that he actually done this to injure me because he has anger issues, all those things, which is where she would now may bring in all of those surrounding facts of him being physically aggressive before, like the shower, for example, like the car, for example, all those things. It would now become, but it will only serve as background information. So how likely would those things come in is what I'm trying to say again, because they're trying to prove this part here. So how likely are those prior acts going to come in? We don't know. I actually don't think they would. I think it's going to be the same challenges that she faced in the criminal trial is going to be again for this particular cause of action. The other cause of action, which was the victim of assault, she is going for the intentional, not reckless, because he was found to be reckless on a criminal standard. She's saying no, it's actually intentional. So this intentional assault, so this one is the lack of consent. So I didn't want him to touch me. This one, in my opinion, she may get it. It's just the assault one, which again, I don't know. Defendant Majors did perpetrate unwarranted violence against plaintiff and give plaintiff reasonable cause to believe that she was in immediate danger, and that Majors had the capacity to effectuate violence against her. Defendant Majors intentionally placed plaintiff in imminent harmful or offensive concept when he used significant cause in twisting. So again, you're saying intentional. So if you're claiming he intentionally did it, in my opinion, you would have to try and argue that while removing the fact that the text messages that he received that you went to get the phone from wouldn't have mattered. He lost it and was doing all these things in spite of that. So that's an uphill battle there. infliction of emotional distress as a direct result of the assault and battery. She received an intentional of emotional distress, etc. Blah blah. So that's quite clear what she's going for as a direct result. So this part here is interesting. It says as a direct result of defendant Major's intentional of emotional distress, the plaintiff has in past suffered and in the future will continue to suffer physical, brutal, humiliation, embarrassment, cause of evasion of her privacy, as well as other damages. Plaintiff are incurred. Again, no one asked you to do this. You could have just anyway. The point is, so when I look at this, Majors did not invade our privacy. I don't know how she's gonna say go or do this, because for you to in England, it's already difficult for you to argue privacy when it comes to like expression or freedom of expression. In the US, it's even more difficult because you guys have the First Amendment. So unless Majors released her private info online, this I think she's just saying that, but I don't think it holds any weight, in my opinion. The word even, like, you can even argue he took steps to protect her privacy, because he didn't name her at all. Like, the legal team did not name her. It was all unnamed. And they even said she suffered from emotional crisis. That's not really saying that you, it's not like that literally is an expression. You are allowed to express something, but they did not say, oh, she was having a brain aneurysm. That's different, or something like that. I don't know. That's what I'm guessing. So this part here. This one, like I said, it's just gonna get laughed at our court because it says fourth course of action managed prosecution. I don't think so. The complaint that Majors lodged actually showed and included pictures of his injuries. There was CCTV to show you struggling against him. So I don't know how you would even be successful with this. I'm interested to see. The fifth course of action is basically defamation. I think these are the statements that she's trying to hold it to him. But again, like I said, all of these statements, like, it's just technically two or three statements. Priya statements is definitely one of them, but this will be the second statement. I never exercised it. I never hit a woman, etc. I never struck a woman ever. So those would be three statements. I know I didn't. That did not happen. So she said that did not happen in response to the interviewer. So that's four statements that are, well, she thinks are actionable, but I don't think they are. I mean, maybe actionable under the defamation by implication theory, because again, none of this is mentioning her. This part, yes, I would say this part might go under defamation. This part might go under defamation, because he's denied it didn't happen. So that's factual or anything like that. So that might be actionable on its own. But this one, no. No. I don't think so. So I think out of those statements, the prayer and this one might actually be actionable. Especially this one. This one has more of a prospect. I feel like this one has more of a prospect than the prayer one, because again, all of it is defamation by implication. They're not in Washington. They're not in Maryland. They're not in they're not in New Jersey or anything like that, where there is weak anti-SLAPP laws, where defamation by implication is a lot easier to pursue because of, they have different rules that would govern that and make it possible to enact it. But New York has anti-SLAPP laws now, so it's gonna be very difficult for her to pursue the defamation claim. But if they push away the defamation claim, she still definitely has a chance. I don't think she has a chance with the with this one, but she definitely has a chance with the IIED and the assault and battery claim. So let me go back to the chat and see how you guys are doing. Non Plume says, DJ says, I don't condone death threats, but jokes made at her expense should be anticipated by her. That's from the evidence. I'm sure she was fine and ill thrown. Look, listen, people are snowflakes nowadays. They don't really, people get upset over little things. So don't be surprised, basically. The universe says, I find it funny that she wants privately while telling the world that Jonathan Majors was a man. Pick a struggle. Pick a struggle. Well, yeah, you said it. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in today. I appreciate every single one of you. Look, listen, I'm going to have to switch off the stream. I hope you guys did enjoy the stream today, and I hope that every single one of you has gained something from the stream. I'm going to be covering this, and I'm going to cover it to see what develops from this. I don't think anything is going to develop, to be honest. To be quite fair with you, I don't think it's something. I think she's just pushing for a settlement. In all honesty, I think she brought this so that he could settle, and all of these things will be out in the public eye. That's all this is. I think this is just a PR play. I don't think it's gonna go that far. But the way that it's crafted, the way that it's written, you could argue that the course of action for the battery and the assault, that based on the finding in the trial, that it was worth a try to at least bring this forward. But in terms of defamation and all that, I think that's a stretch. I think that's a stretch. But but why this is happening now on all these things, I think is because he is back on the red carpet. His career does look on the up. Megan Good really does look like, they are going for the long haul, and she may not like that. So she just throws this spanner in the works. She comes from a family of lawyers. Again, it's not going to be difficult to find representation. One more time, let me say bye to the chat. Thank you so much, Shahid, for your $10 super chat once again. He definitely considered. He was definitely considerate of her and her privacy. Actually, he gave her too much. If you are, yes, 100%. It was only when. Was it New York Post? I think it was New York Post. It was only when New York Post on the 27th that actually reported it mainstream, just to put it out there. I was the first one. I was one of the first ones. Oh God. On this channel on the 5th of April, I'm gonna brag it. I'm gonna brag about it to Lambo in the face. But Kat and I, we done some digging, and we found out the name and the picture. I think it was all from Lipstick Alley, all dating back to October, November, when they were away. And Lipstick Alley, I had already found out who she was. So I did a video back then, and then New York Post, etc. They were starting to do it on the 22nd, 23rd. So privacy came out, but that was not because of Majors. That was just people looking into all of these things. So anyway, Nom the Plume says, great stream, great chat. Thank you so much, Nom, for tuning in. I appreciate you. That's exactly it. She's so mad. Yes, the universe. I agree. Take care of yourself. Take care. Thank you, and take care of yourself. No, yes, you too, Solo Dove. Thank you so much. And thank you, every single one of you, for tuning in. I'm going to get some sleep. It is 11 o'clock here in the UK. But yeah, I appreciate every single one of you. I'm gonna be back next week on Tuesday for Two Guys, a Girl, and the Tea. We'll be talking about the lives of OnlyFans creators. So it's kind of a departure. Again, it's a chance where you get to meet other people that I do a show with, and we talk about things like this. There is an OnlyFans model that I would love to be on the stream. It's not confirmed yet, but hopefully I can get her onto a stream, and then she could share what her life is like. But that's just a supplemental show that I do every 2 weeks, to basically bring a bit of levity to the channel, give you a bit of options, but outside of that, we also have Hindsight. We're going to conclude the investigation, or the critique of the investigation by Alexi Mostros in regards to the bot issue. That's it basically for next week. We have videos dropping on the channel, interviews dropping on the channel next week as well, and the part 3 of the Depp v. Heard doc shall also be released in 2 weeks time. Make sure you stay tuned. Well, 3 weeks time, I don't want to put it 9 times it is, but it should be released by the end of the month, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Take care, everyone. Have a great evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. Yeah.